So, hi, Andy. Thank you once again for allowing us to record this session for the purpose of learning and so for you to experience what a coaching conversation feels like.
Hi, Jedi. Thanks very much for running this by me in this session. I think it's for my own learning purposes as well. I think it's very useful.
So Andy has just begun his coaching journey, and I thought, what better way to kind of kickstart a experience than to experience coaching itself for himself. So in his beginning stages of coaching, one of the things I always say that coaching gets conversational mastery, and so today we're going to do a little coaching demonstration. We'll take a client from the start all the way to the end of the conversation in a way that's co-created, and we're going to show you where all the different competencies will be demonstrated from the start to the end. Okay, so Andy, is there anything that's on your mind that you'd like to share with us today?
Okay, I'm actually planning a trip to Xinjiang in a couple of weeks. The little dilemma I have is should I go with just my family, or there are a couple of other family friends, other families who are very interested to join us, and they're wondering whether they can come along. So it's either a family trip, just a few of us, including my daughter who came back from the UK to visit us, to give us that kind of personal family time, or with a few other families. I mean, these families are people we've known for a long time. We enjoy hanging out with them, and they all want to come along. But if they do come along, it also takes away that family bonding time that we have as a family. So we're talking about traveling either as one family, our own family, or with two other families. So a total of three families together.
Okay, wow, it sounds like quite a big task that you have installed to plan for.
Yeah, I'm the main planner. They're all depending on me to do the planning. And then these two other families that want to come along, they are good family friends. With some of them we haven't seen for a long time. But they all have if we travel together, people have all their quirks and everything. And then, so it's something I got to cater for. And I got to take into consideration everybody's needs in planning the itinerary and accommodation and whatever. Yeah.
And what would you say so far? It's your main thoughts around to go with just your immediate family or the extended other families together?
Okay. Main thought, I think, is for me, if it's with my own family, it's really a good time of bonding after a very tiring year that we all had. Plus, my daughter who just came back from the UK to join us. So it's a good time for family bonding and bonding, especially my daughter with whom we haven't seen for a long time, and to rest and recharge. But on the other side of things, I think hanging out with all the other families is also good in a sense. We haven't seen some of them for a long time. We used to travel with them many years ago. So when they heard about it, they said, "Oh, can we join you?" Sounded interesting, but we haven't seen them for a long time. We'd love to catch up, but I'm not sure spending 10 plus days with them is a restful time for us, especially since I've got to plan everything and sort out everybody's needs. Yeah. So hence a little bit of dilemma. Do we include them or politely tell them maybe a shorter trip, or or maybe not this time? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing like some of the main considerations are the whether is it with your immediate family bonding to have kind of restful trip, because since you're the main planner, or catching up with the other families. But the key factor is this 10-day trip, whether it's going to be too long, and the other factors that may come in with the quirks of the other families that may not be close to your family bonding.
In a way, yes, they're actually close. So we've kept in contact with these two families over the years, and then we used to travel with them before we posted out to here to China. So I would say we're still quite close. We still keep connected. We haven't seen them for a long time. We'd love to catch up. We're just not sure we want to include them in a 10-day trip, and then have to plan for all their needs. We don't know what has changed over the years. The kids have all grown up. They all have their own quirks and peculiarities, we're sure. So that's a little bit we're unsure about. Yeah.
And if we were able to help you to figure something out for today, what would you like by the end of this session to kind of achieve?
To have some clarity on whether I should include them or not. I mean, the other families who sort of requested that, hey, they love to join us, or maybe politely decline and then just and catch up with them through other means, but just have this as our own personal family trip. since it's a long one, and we haven't caught up with our daughter, especially for a long time.
Okay, so sounds good. So to get some clarity around whether to include these other families or not, and why would you say that this is an important topic for you today?
It's important because my daughter has a limited time with us back in China. She's only coming for a couple of weeks, and then if we don't take advantage of this time of bonding with her, it's the next time we see her might be a year later. But if we do include all the other families, I mean, they made a request, and we go ahead with it. There's some I mean, there will be pros and cons. I mean, catching up with old friends, but it probably will dilute the family bonding time we have, especially with our daughter who's with us only for once a year. And she might feel a bit awkward because we haven't seen, she herself hasn't seen some of these people for many years.
Okay.
So it's a decision we got to make because I'm the one doing all the planning. I'm the one doing all the bookings for everybody. I mean, over the years, I've always been the main trip planner whenever we have personal family trips or even extended trips with other families. I mean, it's something I enjoy doing, and they all look to me to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you are the go-to person for all the decisions as well.
I'm like the tour leader lah. Yeah.
Totally. And how is this making you feel? Having to, kind of like do all the planning at the same time, kind of weighing all these considerations together.
I don't mind doing I actually quite enjoy doing the tour planning bit, which is why over the years I've done it. I mean, within the family especially, it's easy. Even with other families that we're comfortable with, it's easy for me. But this time around, it's a little bit different because these other families we haven't seen for a long time. We used to be able to travel them very, very, very well, but after so many years, we're not sure how their kids may have changed. They're all now teenagers or young adults already, and then I mean, these are the children of the families that we hang out with, and then so maybe a little bit of I won't say stress, but yeah, uncertainty about what to expect of them, and then plus how my daughter will react because she hasn't seen us for a long time. She probably wants to spend some time with us here in China. She's only a couple of weeks here, and then suddenly we plan this big trip, and we include everybody else, and we tell her that this is actually a family bonding time. So maybe I'm feeling a little bit, I won't say stressed, but I have some decisions to make, and there's some uncertainty with how to go ahead with it.
Okay. Yeah, I can feel a little bit of that. Both sides seems important, or there's like a conflicting importance of them, but yet this uncertainty still lurks around that area. And if we take a step back and say, because you mentioned about having that clarity by the end of this session, where would you like to be in terms of that clarity?
At least be a little bit clearer on the decision I've got to take. Now it's, I would say, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not maybe 2 or 3 in terms of where to hit, but maybe 7. Hopefully, at the end of the session, nearer a 7 or 8 in terms of having weighed out the pros and cons, and closer to a decision. I would say for sure at the end of the session.
Okay, and so what I'm hearing is that this 7, 8, it's will make you feel that you have weighed out the pros and cons, and it's also for you to kind of make a decision by the end of the session.
More or less, yeah, that's right.
So, okay, and what does the 7, 8 feel like for you?
I guess 7, 8 would be clarity on the pros and cons, and maybe being able to articulate to my own family members or to the other families who want to join us on the pros and cons, and the recommended way ahead for whether to do it as a private family trip this time round or a big trip with all the other families joining us.
Okay, so sounds exciting. And what do you feel is the main gap, or the main barrier that is preventing you from getting from a 2 to 3 to 7, 8 currently?
I guess I haven't really been very clear to pin down the pros and cons. I haven't really weighed everything very clearly, and I guess so that lack of clarity, there are so many pointers in there. Maybe I've not given weightage to
Mm.
the different factors. And it's hard to do that with so many things in your mind, and then all at the same time you are getting noises and sound bites from all the people who are involved in this whole process, or who will be eventual participants. For example, talking to my daughter, who's going to join us in a while, talking to all the other families who are also very excited about joining us. So it's a bit of a dilemma, because I guess the influence of all these voices as well, while I make the decision.
Okay. So I'm hearing these words, influence of all these voices.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because you mentioned earlier as well about this sense of feeling uncertainty, and now we also hear this word of the influence of these voices. Are there any correlation between that uncertainty they're facing and also this influence of these voices?
Definitely. The voices are probably the largest contributor to the uncertainty. If it's left to me to just weigh things out, I think it'll be easy.
Okay.
But because of all these voices, old friends saying, "Oh, it's so nice to catch up with you, blah, blah, blah. We can do this together. We can do that together." Plus, maybe from my daughter's side saying, "Oh, it's so nice to have just a family trip on our own, blah, blah, blah." So I haven't really told her that, "Oh, consider having all these other families join us." Yeah. And so definitely the voices are a big influence in trying to weigh the pros and the cons. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe what I'll do a quick summary of what we heard so far in terms of the outcome for today. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so what we've heard so far in our short discussion is that you like to discuss of getting clarity of whether to include other family members or just having a private family trip for this time. And I think some of the key considerations you mentioned about your daughter and other family members you have not met for some time as well. And right now, where you are in terms of clarity is about 2 to 3, and by the end of this session, you'd like to be about 7 to 8. Be able to weigh out the pros and cons, and to be able to articulate your own family recommendation. And I think one of the things you mentioned earlier is you haven't really pinned down the pros and cons, and so if today we can kind of address that and kind of gain clarity about the weightage of all these pros and cons, where we gain that clarity, are we missing anything?
Maybe just to clarify that it's not other family members, but it's these are friends.
Friends,
Family.
okay.
These are friends. Yeah, these are family friends. 2 other families that we used to travel with a long time ago, and then so they're not exactly part of the extended family.
Okay.
But they are actually family friends.
Family friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you, and thanks for sharing so far. And so, where would you like to begin exploring first?
How do I get from 2 to 3 to
2 to
maybe
3.
7 to 8?
Yeah. So what I was hearing you shared earlier was this weighing out this pros and cons. Maybe we can hear a little bit about what are some thoughts you have currently about this pros and cons.
Okay, so pros, I guess, if it's a small family trip, just my family, it's a good time. It's family time, catching up with our daughter who's been away from us for quite a while. Pros, and so family bonding. So cons of that probably is just us, lor. I mean, we won't be able to enjoy that rowdy group of friends environment that we also used to enjoy when we traveled together with these 2 other families. And by that time, my daughter was younger. She enjoyed interacting with the kids of those family friends as well. Yeah, and actually we're quite social people, so we actually enjoy a crowd as well when we travel. So we're talking about the pros of traveling so that's some pros of traveling just with our family or with 2 other families and that whole crowd, and then being able to do stuff together. Cons, I guess, cons of the pros. So cons of traveling. I think I covered pros and cons in that whole one breath when I.
Okay. So what I'm hearing as well, it's that for the private family, it's more it's like your immediate family. It's really this family bonding, especially with your daughter, and the cons will be not having the other families to have that rowdiness that they used to have when your daughter was younger. And what if you choose the other choice, which is including everyone together? What would that?
Okay, so including everybody, I think the pros will be having that community environment, traveling together, rah, and then after, and it's 10 plus people instead of just the four of us in our family. Cons would be, I guess, we don't know what to expect as we haven't traveled with them for quite a while. All their kids have grown up, so we don't know what the perks and quirks and peculiarities of everybody. We've got to cater for everybody's dietary concerns. Got to and cater for everybody's desires in the itinerary. So it's probably harder to cater for 10 plus people's individual needs or preferences compared to just catering for my own family, because within the family it's easy to just sort it out. But now with other families, these are family friends, other families joining us, you got to cater for them, you got to cater for what they might want. So it's harder to probably get the trip going. It's probably easier when their kids were young, because whatever the parents says go, but now all their kids are young adults or old teenagers, so they may not want this or want that, and then there may be tensions that arise as a result.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like there's already some level of weightage that you kind of like balance between this pros and cons of a private family or with the family friends in the larger group. And for yourself, when you see these two options, right? How do you feel currently about that choices? Let's say if you go with your immediate family or vis-a-vis your family friends, how is it making you feel if you have to choose one of these options?
If I have to choose, just going with the family, I mean, with the private family, I will feel a little bit bad about leaving out the other families who have requested to join us, those family friends, because these are people we used to travel with, and I'll feel a bit bad because they always looked up to me as like the trip planner to plan all these big trips. So I mean, maybe because of COVID, we haven't traveled for many years with them as well. So I'll feel a bit bad if we don't include them, because I think there's a certain expectation that we always travel with them. So so this is like the big reunion, big trip. Yeah. So that's how I'm feeling. If we go with that big trip, I'm also feeling a bit of I won't say trepidation, but maybe a little bit concern if my daughter who hasn't seen us for a long time, just says, "Oh, you wanted me to come back to spend time with you in Beijing, and then you're going to plan this big trip, and then and I'm not very comfortable with all these kids we haven't seen for a long time. They're not kids anymore; they're all young adults. And then So what about the family time that we thought we were supposed to have? Now it's like a big community travel experience. Yeah. So hence I'm feeling some tension between the choices I have to make.
And this feeling that you just mentioned, was it something that that someone has told you about, or was it just more internally you're feeling this way?
I think probably more internally, but maybe reinforced a little bit by what my wife has also pointed out lah. Yeah, so it's something that I share in common with my wife. And then maybe some of the little comments from my daughter, some of the little comments from these family friends that we are supposed to travel with lah. If I agree, then they can come along. Yeah.
And okay, and so far, what are some of the thoughts that you have heard from your daughter? Because it sounds like your daughter is the main kind of consideration, because whether is it you mentioned about how your daughter's coming back after a long while and just going to have a few weeks with you, and that family bonding time is going to be very important. And what has your daughter shared with you in terms of how she sees choices?
She hasn't been very direct lah, but maybe just from some of her expressions when we told them that, oh, uncle so and their kids want to join us, blah blah blah, and she didn't sound very enthusiastic. She was like, oh, and then so she has also been quite not very upfront about it. She just gave some hints here and there, didn't sound enthusiastic, even though we told her that, oh, these are people we used to travel with. She said, yeah, I know, but she sounded like a bit nonchalant, and can sense it from her body language and tone that maybe she'd rather not hang out with them if possible. Because before that, she was quite excited when we said we're all going on this big trip to Xinjiang together. Yeah. Then I guess that's my daughter's response so far. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we haven't been very upfront in asking her, oh, so do you really prefer us not to include them? Yeah.
And knowing your daughter, if today if you were to get a chance to step into your daughter's shoe, uh, as if you were your daughter, right? And now after a long while, you're coming back to China and spending time with your family, and you're hearing your parents share with you this trip that's coming up. From you as the daughter's perspective, what are you hearing, or how is it making you feel?
If I step into my daughter's shoes, I think she's feeling a bit of I'm not sure disappointment is the right word, but yeah, she may feel like, oh, I thought we're supposed to spend time bonding together as family. Why are we getting everybody else to come on board on this big trip that we're supposed to have? So she's yeah. So I can't really describe the feeling, but maybe it sounded all a bit negative from her tone and from her body language when we first talked about it to her. But didn't have the excitement of like, oh, let's hang out with these families, blah 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 blah. Yeah.
And what, as if your daughter now, right? What are you subtly telling your dad,
Mm.
or what is not spoken? What is it that you're trying to share?
Subtly hinting on a preference that it'd be better to just have a family trip without everybody else. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting, but she's also not been too upfront about it. Yeah, not been too explicit about it. When we ask her a bit more, she'll like, okay. But again, the enthusiasm is not there. There's some negative sound bites coming out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And what do
But
you feel it's yeah? So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
but I guess she's polite lah. She's polite and she knows what these other families mean to us and these other family friends mean to us. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we thought meant something to her as well lah, because she used to hang out very well with the children of all these family friends. Yeah.
Okay. And what if the reason she doesn't really be very direct about saying yes or no, but keep it a bit more subtle, was because like what you mentioned, she was just trying to be polite and respectful to you and your wife's relationship with the family friends.
Mm.
So
That's
that
yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Yeah. But we haven't really drawn out a full explicit answer from her lah. That
okay,
can you tell us very clearly you
whether
prefer
you
or
want.
not? Yeah. Then but she's like okay lor. Yeah. Yeah.
and
That kind
and
of
how. Yeah, because I noticed that one of the key things was that you need to get the certainty from her, or what it sounds like is that as a whole, making the choices, the main factor it's around this space of the daughter's level of comfort to proceed with it or not.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
And if today this clarity is gotten, and you get this 100% certainty from her, how would that influence your choice?
I guess if it's 100% certain and she comes back with an emphatic no, I prefer not to, then I guess we'll have to start thinking of ways to tell our family friends in a polite manner that things have changed. Maybe for this trip we prefer to do it just as a personal family trip, but we can always catch up on other occasions. We can do other trips, but this one's a bit more unique because we have some personal family reasons to want to do it just on our own lah.
Mm.
Yeah. So if my daughter comes back with that kind of emphatic response, yeah. But if not, we're also hoping to, like I said, catch up with those family friends. And not often people make a trip just to the country where you're based in, and then they hope to catch up and travel together. And not often do we get so many days off work to do that kind of traveling as well. So we know how much it means to them, those friends.
Mm.
And so we also don't want to disappoint, because we're now somewhat like hosts in this country. So even though they're coming here and then they're traveling to another city within the country, it's a big country. we feel a little bit obliged to include them as well. So that's the tension. Yeah. We're happy to include them. I mean, especially the adults, we know them for many years already. Yeah. But if my daughter gives an emphatic no, then I probably feel that I want to get away from that paiseh factor and really just tell them up front. Yeah.
And how important, because I noticed that that having that emphatic no, it's the critical kind of decision for you to know what to do next. And what if you don't get an emphatic no? How would that
Which is quite likely. My daughter doesn't like to give like emphatic yes or no. She also has that Asianness in her. She's polite and she knows how much it means to her. So it's quite likely we don't get an emphatic no. Hence the tension that we have now. Yeah. So I'm also not sure how to move ahead. Hence the 2 or 3 out of 10 when we started the conversation. Yeah. The desire to move it to
7. Okay. It sounds like the main crux is having this emphatic no or yes or no from the daughter. And if today you have the emphatic no, what will happen to this 2 to 3 level?
Yeah, if it's an emphatic no, then the 2 to 3 will definitely move up to 7 to 8.
Okay.
And then I roughly will be able to know what to do. Yeah.
Okay. And but I think the what I'm hearing so far is that the emphatic yes or no will be very hard from your daughter as well, because she also has the Asian values where she's also respectful or polite to the parents, and knowing how much the family friends also mean to you, both of you as well. And so knowing that most likely you may not get an emphatic yes or no, what is it that you really want for your daughter?
What do we want for her? Actually, I guess we want the best of both worlds. We want to have that bonding time with her. We want her to reconnect with all these friends and as well. We want her to have a good time while she's here.
Okay.
And then I guess so. Like, we also want our friends to have a good time. We also want to reconnect with our friends. So hence the tension. So I'm not too sure whether we can move it from 2 to 3 to 7 to 8 without that emphatic no, whether there are other factors that will help us to push the 2 to 3 to a 7 to 8. Yeah, we think that the solution space may not be mutually exclusive. That we can still achieve the objective of having a good time with her, bonding with her, having that family time, and also including our friends along. Yeah, that's what we hope lah. We're not sure. Yeah. Hence the conversation. Yeah.
Can I share my observation so far from what I'm hearing you share? Yeah. What I'm observing so far is that that you kind of already know what the decisions that you like to make, which is having the best of both worlds, like allowing the time with your daughter as well as catching up with all these friends. But yet the anchor is on this getting the daughter to say yes and no, and it sounds like also from that perspective, you also know that what is your daughter's ideal preference, regardless of whether she says emphatic yes or no, which she most probably wants to just spend time with the family herself. And I think the tension then comes is whether what is it in for you versus what is it in for her. What is it that you want for her versus what is it that she wants with the family. And I think that two things, it's one I'm hearing is being a conflict here. One is from that perspective and the other one is from their perspective. On the other side also, I can sense that she doesn't want to disappoint you and your wife. That's why she has been very subtle, not really having a very direct, empathic yes or no to you. And so far, I'm also hearing you share a lot more from what you want for her. But if we consider it from the other side, what does she want from her side? From the parents. How would that change your perspective?
I guess from her side, she wants to be able to have the time to share with us, time and opportunity to share with us common experiences, build memories together that are with us. I'm not too sure whether with us alone or with us in a larger group, but yeah, she wants to have the time and space to connect with us more, having not seen us for quite a long time. Yeah, so I think that is her perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess the trip offers her the opportunity to do so. Yeah. Except whether it is a little bit divided, the tension on her will be a bit more divided if we include everybody else, because obviously as the main trip planner, I'll be catering to everybody else's needs. I'll be corralling everybody along, and then with my wife supporting me. Yeah, so we might not have that kind of bandwidth to have that undivided attention or time and space to spend with her. Yeah, so that's probably where she's coming from.
And what if we look at it from another angle, where rather than a yes and no on either side, but an integration of both things together, which is in the trip itself having maybe half the time where it's just personal time with the private family, and then the other half it's having that family friends together on the trip, so you have the best of both worlds.
I guess that's possible. But I guess we'll have to work into the itinerary. It's a very long trip, and it's covers a large amount of distance as well. So might be challenging to split it up like that, unless we're quite deliberate about it. Hence, also adds to the equation of me trying to like cater to everybody lah, and then having to be very deliberate about it. And to convey it to all the other family friends who are traveling with us, and in a way convey it to my daughter as well.
Yep. And if you were to go with this option about having to give that, like, because you mentioned earlier about how you want to cater to everyone, but it sounds like the catering is more towards what you and your wife may want with your family friends, but from the daughter's perspective, she wants that personal time with just the immediate family where she has not seen for quite some time. And so if you have to cater to her also, what would that look like for you? So we had a little connection interruption earlier, but not to worry. So where we left off was a bit of you mentioned earlier about how you want to cater for everyone, and so but what I'm not hearing as well, it's if you were to cater to your daughter, how would that influence your choice?
You mentioned just now about the possibility of catering to both the needs of the family friends and my daughter, and perhaps an integrated solution that will sort of meet the needs of everybody. I guess it's going to be a bit more complex. There's a lot more work to do, how to plan for it, because we're traveling over large distances in Xinjiang. It's probably a little bit more challenging to build in personal time and time together with a large collective, if given the large travel distances and how the itinerary will be pretty packed as well. So, but I can try. There's something probably I must explore if I really want to go into looking at a solution that caters to everybody's needs. Yeah.
And if you were to cater to everyone's needs, like in this case, how do you think everyone will feel?
I guess everyone's gonna feel okay, happier that deliberate effort was taken, especially from my daughter's angle. The deliberate effort was taken to cater to her needs for personal family time. The family friends who want to travel with us will feel still somewhat happy that I include them, and I guess they should be able to understand that our young adult children will also want some personal space on their own. But I think generally they will be appreciative that we've gone back to the old modus operandi of me planning everything and then everybody coming aboard and being included. Yeah. So that's possible, but I guess I will feel a lot more stress trying to work that in. So it's not easy, but yeah.
So what I'm hearing is this is the third option where the original stress was easier to manage, where you kind of plan it for everyone and everyone goes together. And now if you go for this option, the burden or the stress now falls on you because you now have to cater for everyone's needs. But yet on the other side, everyone will more or less be satisfied at a certain level.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. And what if we look at it from also another perspective where suppose this trip just goes on with the family friends and with your daughter, and you have a separate trip with your daughter.
Hmm. I guess it's difficult for me to find the time for that because we have to we're already clearing about 2 weeks of leave for this trip, and then duty calls, there are work demands that will pile up. So I think it's difficult during her time here to do another separate trip beyond this 10 plus days of travel that we already have in Xinjiang. Maybe a day trip or so here and there, but maybe difficult to have that longish trip with her that maybe she was hoping for. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, what could happen if you had shared with her these options where there's a possibility of shorter trips, a 1 day trip, or vis-a-vis a 10 day but kind of split some time with just private family and then the rest of the time with the larger group. How do you think she would kind of respond to those options?
I think she'll be quite okay about it. I think given that the starting base was a possible trip with everybody else, this one seems to have taken her preferences into consideration, and so it would have met her preferences in some way. She knows we're taking effort to do that. Yeah, so I think she'll be happier, I guess, than the baseline solution of, we are going with these two other families and then blah blah blah. So I think she'll be a bit happier. May not be the most happy, which is the ideal situation, or we just do a family trip on our own, but she'll be happier than before, for sure.
And as we look back to where we started off today, getting the clarity about the pros and cons and the choices, where are you right now in terms of the clarity?
I think I'm seeing more solution spaces open up. I'm also a bit clearer about what are the main determinant factors that are so-called influencing my choice of where to go. Which option to choose, or what solutions to consider. So I think I'm having more clarity. It's probably moved from 2 to 3 for sure to maybe a higher score, but I'm not sure it has hit 7 to 8 yet. Yeah.
Okay.
I still need to think a bit more before making a decision.
And what do you feel it's that missing beat to get that 7, 8, or even more than that?
I guess maybe that little bit is also my own my own comfort about whether I'm able to pull it off, since I'm the main organizer. Yeah. So if, for example, if we look at the solution space that was suggested of integrating the trip to meet both my daughter's needs and the needs of our family friends, whether I can pull it off, that's quite a fair bit of work, having to plan a trip with everybody and then tell them, part A, B, C, maybe you all split up with us and then we meet back at the other city. Yeah. So it might be a bit complicated, especially since some of our family friends have not been to China before. So I feel bad in that way. I'm not confident that I can pull that off for them unless we get tour guides booked for them and then they're comfortable. But otherwise, I think they would prefer to be with us during the whole time of the 10 plus days together. So maybe that little bit of discomfort is preventing me from reaching a 7 to 8 in terms of the clarity I need.
It sounds like that you kind of have a rough idea of which direction you like to take, and what I'm observing so far is that there's this consideration as well of because both sides have this. There's been some time. Both sides you have not met. One is your daughter. One is also the family friends. and trying to find that integration, and yet it feels like at times like a compromise, like I have to give up something for another. In this case, if I try to do integration, then I'll be giving up some other things, which is I'm not sure whether can I pull it off. And yet on the other side, if I have to give in to one or another, then I'll be, maybe not, maybe they might not have that fullness of experience or everything. So finding something that works for everybody seems a bit far, or it seems almost unlikely to be able to reach to that common place. And what would you say if today if we're able to move forward in time, and at the end of the successful journey of this trip, and you look back and you say, hey, okay, we were able to accomplish something that met the needs of everyone, your needs, your wife needs, the family friends needs, and your daughter's needs. What would be the most important thing that everybody would be looking forward to?
I guess it would be a good experience for everyone. For our family, friends, my daughter, ourselves included, and then also for me as well to some degree, but maybe also the satisfaction of having to pull it off for everyone. I guess that is something that will be important to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. And what are you learning about this situation so far?
I guess it's about I'm gaining some clarity on the trade-offs. I'm a little bit clearer on what I can possibly do. The solution spaces have opened up, and then I'm beginning to see with more clarity which part of the solution space affects who. So I guess that is something that is clearer to me now. And I realize that I'm also the one of the parties affected if I choose something that I need to put in a lot more effort to pull through. Yeah.
And what are you discovering also for yourself? Like, what are you learning about yourself in this situation?
I guess I would like to please everybody. I like to satisfy. Yeah, I'm also somebody who hates to disappoint others. So I'm happy. I'm. Yeah, I guess that's coming out even more clearly as I consider the preferences and desires of other people who have said that they want me to take charge of a situation and lead them on towards a certain outcome. So in this case, a journey together. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all those insights and discoveries. And if we were to take all these insights that you've just mentioned earlier about how the trade-offs, the parties affected, as well as about who you are, being able to please everybody, not to let anyone be disappointed. How would this influence, or how would this influence your future actions that you're going to take?
How would it influence me?
Or how
I
would you like
guess
to use these learnings? Yeah.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yep. How would you like to use these learnings going forward?
That I probably need to understand better the impact of decisions on my. Yeah, I mean, it helps me to know myself a little bit better. Just from this simple exercise of trying to plan something to meet everybody's needs, I've come to greater clarity on the type of who I am, and then at the same time, how I tend to function when making decisions that affect a larger collective and affect me as well. So I'm having more clarity on the way I operate and function just from this simple exercise of planning a trip to either accommodate just my family or other family friends. So I'm having greater clarity, I would say, of who I am.
And what do you feel will be your next steps in taking to help you to move forward?
I guess yes, I am. It's whether I choose to move forward. I guess at the end of the day, I've got to weigh whether I can pull it off, and if I can pull it off, I guess because of who I am, I want to meet everybody else's needs. Unless I'm very sure that I can't pull it off, time and space considerations, then I probably have to disappoint either my daughter or my family friends. But in this particular case of planning this trip, if I can pull it off, I think my preference is to satisfy everybody and put the weight of effort on
Putting yourself.
myself, to get it done and sorted. And not just to get it done, but also to tell both sides that we're doing a lot I'm doing work to accommodate them and hope they are satisfied and appreciative as a result. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And because you mentioned about doing this planning and trying to plan out this whether you can pull it off, how would you know that you have kind of accomplished this, or what would be your timeline like?
My timeline would be definitely before the trip. At least 2 weeks before the trip, I would say, so I can put all the bookings and everything, and then and have discussions with the travel companies on whether we can pull it off from a time and space perspective, and experiential perspective for everybody. So I would say 2 weeks before the trip takes place, to have certainty that it is something that is executable.
And what's going to help you to kind of keep at that pace to ensure that 2 weeks before you can get all this sorted out?
I guess I've got to come up with a plan and start iterating it with travel agents, iterating it with talk it out with the wife as well, and then also start sounding out both my daughter and the family friends on whether this is something that is amenable and to them. Yeah, so all that has to be worked into a timeline so that I can sort of get it sorted at least 2 weeks before we travel.
So what I'm hearing is that talking with the wife and the daughter to keep yourself on pace, ensuring that all this is accomplished. Okay, and
talking to the travel agents as well,
and the travel agents as well, which would be your other buddy. And what do you foresee could be some potential barriers or any form of obstacles that come your way that might prevent you from kind of accomplishing all these plans?
I guess if the travel agents come back and say it is difficult to execute, maybe from a time and space perspective, from a transport arrangement kind of perspective, because, for example, maybe we're supposed to go in one bus, and then if we want to do something different, and then they've got to arrange separate transport arrangements for our family and the other two families, and it's going to cost a lot more, or it's undoable midway through the tour. Those are probably some obstacles. So I'll say the obstacles are mainly physical in nature, and logistical, time and space, etc. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some resources you think you can tap on to help support you in this?
Resources. I guess I have to go online to check on people's itineraries. I've got to do a lot of travel research on my own, and then propose, and of course also tap on the experience of some of these travel agents that I trust. I've traveled with quite a fair bit here in China, so draw on their advice, draw on the advice of online sources that I can find to see whether what I want to plan for is doable.
And it can offer some ideas for you to consider as well. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you can think about, because as you're sharing all this, I felt that a buddy, potentially like a AI buddy, to chat with, bounce off the ideas about how to integrate all these different ideas and thoughts, could also be a potential resource for you to consider, whether it's a DeepSeek or something, to check in with them, throw all the ideas there, then get them sorting out all the different possible plans as a so that can support you in making a better plan. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I guess so. Yeah, for sure. Since AI is really, it's a companion that we, it's almost essential in our daily life these days. Whenever we look for recommendations or have queries and need answers, I think AI is definitely a buddy that is very, very useful.
Okay, sounds great. Oh, it's such an amazing conversation that we had so far. And thanks so much for opening up yourself. And if we kind of circle back to where we started off, wanting to gain some clarity around this choice between private family or with family friends, where are you right now in terms of that clarity?
Oh, I think we've come quite a long way. Thanks so much for facilitating the conversation and helping me gain clarity. I think I've come quite a long way, and I think I'm probably now at a 7 or 8, and a lot more able to come to a decision than when we first started the conversation. So really appreciative of how you have brought me along.
And I also like to thank you. Yeah, because I know it's not easy. Sometimes it sounds like it's just making a choice, making a decision. But as I'm hearing you share, I can really sense someone who is wants the best for everyone. And throughout the whole conversation, I can see your effort and thinking what's the best for your daughter, what's the best for the family friends who have not seen some time, and then I can also feel that you're willing to take on the burden. That means I'm going to do all the work to make sure that I can make everybody happy, and I think that's something very commendable as someone who's taking a lot of the responsibility to plan all the scripts, and that's something I really appreciate you throughout this whole conversation.
Oh, thanks for your kind words. Yeah, but it's something I enjoy doing in some way as well. But maybe with extra stress, enjoyment levels will drop a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah. And is there anything else you're gaining or learning or from this session?
A little bit more about myself, how I make decisions, and my orientation. Like you pointed out, that desire to please everyone. I hope I'm not a crowd pleaser. I hope it's I'm still objective. But I do have that tendency to want to make people happy. Yeah.
But I guess that can also be your strength, because I would see that as not as like entirely crowd pleaser, but people that are important to you. You want to give them the best, because I can sense how your daughter means so much to you, and as well as that those close family friends mean to you as well. So it's not like pleasing a stranger on the street, but really because they form part of who you are as an individual. I can sense your passion for them.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks for your kind words. Yeah.
And if today, just as we are about to wrap up and close, what would be something like a small step you can take to help you to kickstart? That means right after this call is ended, what would be one small thing you can kind of kickstart the momentum to move towards this planning?
Quickly connect with the AI buddy like you suggested. I thought that was a very good suggestion. And then also start sounding out both all the other stakeholders, my daughter and all the other family friends, on the possibility of such an arrangement, to sort of have a sense of their inclination and preferences. Yeah. And then so definitely straight after this conversation, I'll start working on those things.
Sounds great. And is there anything else that you'd like to discuss before we close today's session?
I think it's been a very very, very full kind of conversation that we've had. Really appreciative of that, and I can't think of anything more specific to the topic. I've gained quite a lot of clarity on how to move ahead, so I'm really appreciative of you taking the time and effort to help me along on this journey. So thanks very much.
Thank you for also playing all out in this conversation as well. Really appreciate you for being here and spending this time to go deeper in this topic that you just shared with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Would now be a good time for us to close this session?
Sure. Thanks very much. I look forward to catch up with you again on other topics of interest that we can discuss.
Look forward to the next session as well. And thanks, Andy, once again. Really appreciate you for being so open to share this conversation that is deeply close to your heart with the rest of the world as well. And I know it's not easy sometimes coming online to do a coaching demonstration call like this with a real topic. And I always say this is not like a coaching demo, but it's a real topic that someone's experiencing the entirety of coaching conversation. So if you're watching this, what we've just done is we've taken Andy from the start of the conversation all the way to the end, and I've tried to kind of craft this or structure this conversation a little bit more structured, so that for those of you who are learning coaching for the first time, you can kind of see the different stages of the process of the conversation. And as you kind of learn more about it, you can be more fluid in terms of how you kind of arrange the different sequences of the conversation. I hope this really helps you a lot more. And until next time, I look forward to catching up with everyone.